everybody, how are you? It's Dr. Cruz from Healing Out Loud. I am the author of From Foster Care to Fabulous and Imperative Movement, and I am the founder of Design Your Destiny coaching program. It's so nice to be with you today. All right, so I'm excited today because today is my video on the 3 things I learned last month. And I really like these videos because it gives me an opportunity to reflect. Right? Sometimes we can get very, very busy in life and time kind of slips away from us. But these videos force me to contemplate about, what did I do last month and how did it go? Did I do well? Did I drop the ball on some things? Did I overreact? Did I express myself properly? How did people affect me? Am I going in the right direction for the goals that I have set for myself? Am I happy with myself? Do I feel like God would be proud of me? Do I feel like my daughter would be proud of me? Am I on track? Based on the things that I reflect on and I learn and I contemplate and I analyze and I mull over, my ultimate question is, basically, have I been a good person? Have I loved people properly? Did I contribute to this world in a way that I would want my grandchildren to emulate, ultimately, right? So the first thing that I learned last month is that there are 2 major things that are trying to dominate our focus. There's 2 things that are trying to dominate not only our focus, but our attention, our just our time, really. Anything that dominates your focus, your attention is going to dominate your time. It's going to dominate your life. So ultimately, these 2 things are trying to dominate the direction, really, the direction of your life, the direction of my life, direction of all of our lives, right? Because this is universal for everybody. I just happened to realize it in February. So the first thing is whatever it is that you are consciously doing. Whatever it is that you are consciously trying to do, trying to achieve, trying to make happen, whatever you are consciously doing is trying to dominate your focus, your attention, your time, your life, your energy, right? And the other thing that's trying to dominate all of that is your inner voice. There is a message in your inner voice that is trying to be acknowledged. It wants you to listen to it. It's oftentimes very, very quiet. It's very soft. It can go unnoticed your whole life. But your inner voice and your conscious mind are in a battle to win your attention, your focus, the direction of your life, your time, your destiny. Do you understand? Your inner voice has one message for you, and that message is trying to guide you. But your mind has a whole separate idea of what it wants to achieve and what it wants to focus on. And so oftentimes we get motivated with our conscious mind from our emotions, from our desires, from our sense of obligation, from our guilt. We can get off track sometimes. We might think we're doing the right thing, and we are according to our conscious mind. But we could live our entire life based on what our conscious mind is trying to dominate and focus on. And it could literally be the absolute wrong thing for us to focus on. Because ultimately, the inner voice inside of you comes from your source, the creator of who you are. The energy that created you as a human being is trying to communicate to you through your inner voice. But to hear the inner voice requires us to meditate. You know, it's not enough to pray. Praying oftentimes is when we are communicating to our creator, to our source, right? But just because we communicate to our source doesn't necessarily mean we are listening, being intuitive. Well, this is not intuitive. This is intuitive. This is conscious thought. We're not necessarily being intuitive, and we're not listening. We are not feeling. So we need to come back into our body, into our spirit. Get out of our mind, because our mind truly is a raging fire. It's a raging fire. And as human beings, we have an ego. And our ego, has its own agenda. It wants to feel validated and important and safe and right. So if our ego is driving the car of our life, then the ego is communicating with the mind and saying, this is what I should do, this is what I should do, because it makes the ego, which is part of our emotions, feel validated. Because we are oftentimes in kind of a conundrum. We want to do the right thing, but then our mind takes over and confuses us and says, no, this is what you should be doing. Because if you don't do this, your ego gets hurt. You look at yourself as, oh, I messed up. I'm a less than. I didn't live up to some ideal, right? So our ego and our mind can really take us on a path in life that may not be the path we should have ever been on. But it's our inner voice that's connected to our source, which is trying to guide you in the right direction. Regardless what your ego says, regardless what your mind says, your spirit is the all-knowing. It will never lead you in the wrong direction, okay? Because it's connected to your creator. Whatever created you, I have been watching some videos lately on the creation of human beings. And it is absolutely phenomenal. It is mind-blowing. So I have a whole new appreciation of people and how they came to exist into a being, right? From, even before the sperm and the egg connected, and then it divided itself in so many different, sections, and how the genes from each sperm and egg come together to develop the characteristics of what is going to eventually be a human being. And so watching how, especially the brain develops, we have billions of brain cells called neurons. And each neuron, all the billions of neurons have created trillions. Like if my hand is a neuron, it creates different connections with other neurons. And so there are trillions of connections in our brain that help to run our body. It's fascinating. If you can ever go to the library, check check a movie out on, the brain or human existence. How did we come to be biologically? You know what I mean? And then when you get I don't know about you, but for me, because I have a newer understanding and a more advanced understanding of how we become to be as human beings, I have a deeper understanding of the battle between the mind and the spirit. It's constantly in battle because, like I said, they're both trying to dominate your focus. So, please be aware of that, okay? Please be self-aware of when you are in the mind and when you are in the spirit. When you are moving in your spirit and when you are moving from your mind, okay? And both of them are important. It's not that we should ignore one or the other, but one is always right. And your spirit is always right. If you ever have a problem, if you ever have something that you need an answer for, if you ever have, just something that you need direction with, and this right here can't figure it out. If this right here can't figure it out, it's because it's not for that to figure out. It's for your spirit to inform you. And all it requires truly is getting into the habit, creating it part of your lifestyle to meditate. And as I was saying earlier, when we pray, we're communicating. But to meditate means we shut the noise off and we sit and we go into our body, into our spirit, into our energy. And we become, we stop focusing on social media and our household and our job and our problems and the bills and all of the stuff out here in the external world. We put that on pause for 20, 30 minutes and we just meditate. And you focus on your breathing. You relax. And then you just sit and feel the energy in your body. Feel where your stress might be. And once you settle all of your physiology down and your brain waves, they change from beta to alpha, then you're connected with the physiology that is trying to communicate with you, with the spirit, the energy of the universe. Give it a try, okay? All right. The second thing that I learned this week was that no matter what you do, and no matter how hard you try, there are just some people who are going to be the way they are. That's it. It doesn't matter how much you love them. It doesn't matter how much you try. It doesn't matter how much you try to negotiate. It doesn't matter how many great things you do for them. It doesn't matter that you greet them with a smile and a love and a hug every time you see them. It doesn't matter that you have the best intentions for them. It doesn't matter that you would die for them. It doesn't matter that you would give a kidney to them if they truly needed it. Nothing matters. Sometimes people just are the way they are. And there's nothing you can do to get them to be different. and maybe we shouldn't, right? There's a debate about that, you know. Should we try to help people change, or should we just accept them the way they are? Sometimes when you want someone in your life, whether a friend, you know, there was a lady at church I really wanted to just kind of, I don't know, I wasn't really consciously saying I want to be cool with her, but I liked her, you know. She was a little rough around the edges, but she added a little excitement to my, you know, my visit every time I saw her. And I liked her, you know. But what I was overlooking is I actually was making, I don't know that I was making an excuse for her behavior and her personality, but I guess because it had not been directed toward me, I didn't have a problem with her, right? The negativity of her personality. But the day that she spewed her negative personality onto me, that negative part of her personality, because she's rough around the edges, but I genuinely think she's probably a really great person. But when she spewed her negativity onto me, it was a whole different story. You know, and I think I mentioned in a different video the story about it, and I won't go into great detail about it, but basically she chastised me in the church for taking a picture of something, and she didn't feel I was supposed to be taking pictures, and it was no big deal. You know, it wasn't I was breaking no law. She was like, some people just want to be in charge, right? They just want to feel like they have say-so over stuff. And she's one of those people. She's also elderly. You know, she's probably at least 15 years older than I am. And she's a teacher, so maybe she's accustomed to talking at people instead of with people, right? I don't know. I'm just guessing. But the point is that it was a bad situation because you can't come over here and tink in my sandbox. Like, don't come over here with all of that, because this right here is good. I've done a lot of work to make sure I have good energy, and you are not allowed over here. Anybody. They're not allowed over here to mess up my day, right? And so I am a big believer that if you come into my life, you need to enhance my life. If you're not going to enhance my life, or at least leave it the way it is, don't come into my life. Don't come into my life to bring drama, your mama, none of that. Like, stay over there. I don't need it, okay? So, I resolved the issue within myself spiritually during church, and I went up to her to, just kind of make peace with the lady, right, after church. And I wanted to explain to her that I couldn't receive what she was telling me because she was talking at me. She didn't come to me with godly energy, right? And we're in church. She's arguing with me while the pastor's praying, which threw me off. I'm like, this is not that important that you need to be like freaking out. You know what I mean? I just took a picture. So it didn't go over well. So when I approached her after church, that's what didn't go over well either. Because I asked her, I said, hey, can I get a minute? And she's like, well, did you speak to the pastor? I'm like, no, I didn't speak to the pastor because there's nothing to speak to the pastor about. And she's like, well, you need to speak to the pastor. And, so it didn't go over well. So I was like, listen, whatever. So back to my point. No matter what I was trying to do in that moment to create peace, to resolve the issue, to end with a hug, and girl, it's all good. It was a moment, no big deal, right? I wanted to make the situation as if it never happened because it truly was no big deal. Even the pastor told her it's not a big deal. But People are just people. And that's what I want you to understand. Despite our best efforts, sometimes we just have to let people go. Even after decades of hoping that they would see the light, you find out that they don't. And they may never. And so we have to accept them. We don't have to accept them into our life. We can love them from afar. But they are going to be who they are. And as much as that might break our heart, we have to let them go. Because our ultimate responsibility, our ultimate obligation is to ensure all of this is good. And if that person is not equally yoked with you, it's never going to work. Not in friendship, not in relationships, not in business relationships, not in church relationships. People sometimes just are the way they are. And they're not inclined to change. Everybody doesn't want to grow. I am a huge proponent of growing. I want to develop into the max potential that God has set forth in me, in my cells, in the molecules and the atoms of every cell in my body. I know that I can continue to grow and change and become better and smarter and whatever, right? More expanded. Learn how to express and love better and live better and enjoy life better. I am not static. I am flexible. I am malleable. Just like the brain has brain plasticity, where it can be reshaped. I reprogram my entire brain. Maybe not the entire brain, but I reprogram my brain over the years because I was so unself-aware. Because of my upbringing, I was so rooted in fear and wanting to be loved and wanting certain things that I just wanted out of life, right? I was a party girl. I really, I'm Latina, so I really enjoy dancing and music and festivities and fiestas. And, I have that as part of my DNA. I'm very festive. But it was a little out of control. But I was unaware of that. And just like I said, some people just are the way they are. And there's nothing anybody can really do about it. Except for, we can bring awareness to them. But ultimately, it's up to them to make the decision. And it's not really even a decision. Because when I was unaware of my, back then, current state of mentality and of thinking and behaviors, when I was unaware, people really couldn't tell me anything either. Because I was unaware. But it takes repetition. It takes people to keep bringing it to the forefront. Like, hey, just like if you're late to work. They keep saying, hey, you're late to work. Hey, you're late to work. Hey, you can't be late to work. You're going to get fired. Now, I got to write you up. I'm bringing it to your awareness. I already gave you a verbal warning. I already gave you several verbal warnings. I'm trying to wake, ding, ding, ding. I'm trying to wake you up. because you only get so many chances in life. At work, you only get so many chances before they fire you. So if you don't, not you, because sometimes it's not a conscious decision. I could not just consciously say, oh, I see what I'm doing wrong. If I could consciously do that, I would have done that. But it took trial and error. It took pain. It took years. It took me reading books. It took me being exposed to higher level thinking people and more advanced, people and higher functioning people and education and all these things, because I didn't grow up with anyone teaching me basic fundamentals of life. Like, don't be an idiot, right? So some of the things I did was dumb. And just like this lady in church, she just is the way she is until her awareness level kicks in. And there's no guarantee it will. I thank God my awareness level kicked in, right? So sometimes, we want to be acknowledged by them, or, we want to be loved by them, or we want to be, we get confused, like, is it me? What did I do to you? No. Check yourself. Is it you? But usually it's not. Usually it just is that they are the way they are. And everybody's not supposed to get along. And everybody's not supposed to, vibe. And it's okay. There's almost 8 billion people in this world. Forget it. You don't need them to vibe with you, okay? But we have to let go of, our expectations at some point. We can try to get along with the person, but if it don't work, it just don't work. You know what I mean? Cut your losses, move on, okay? All right, the third thing that I learned is that we have to stop being so casual with our lives. I'm learning this. I already know it, but sometimes we could know it like a soft tap. Like, I know. And sometimes it's like, do you know? Do you really know? Life has to really hit us and say, hey, life is not to be taken advantage of. Life is a very fragile and finite blessing. And you are not to take it casual. You are not to be flippant with life. Time is of the essence. And I am really, really getting that message loud and clear, because I'm about to move to California. I'm about to move to LA. And there are some things that I want done before I move to LA. And so I have to ensure that I am not letting hours and minutes and days and weeks and months pass me by. Because if I do, I'm going to be in big trouble when it's time to move to LA, because I won't have my ducks in a row. So, I'm fighting my energy. I have to be aware of when I have peak energy, because peak energy doesn't last all day. It may last 2 or 3 hours, maybe. And then we start dwindling down, right? So I have to know when my peak energy is. I have to know what my focus is for the next day before the next day gets here. I have to be disciplined. I have to be, hold myself accountable, because life is not to be handled casually. So if you're sitting on the couch watching TV for the last 10 years, doing nothing with your life, don't be surprised when you die and you got nothing done. You became nothing. God created you to a being He gave you full capacity. He gave you everything you need in your mind, your body, and your spirit, because we are one unit, and we need to learn how to work the mind with the body, with the spirit, right? Like the Trinity. We got to bring it all together, because each one has its own special skill set and its own special purpose. The mind is very, very, very important. The body is very, very, very important. If we don't take care of the body, we die. If we don't take care of our mind, we don't grow. We don't evolve. We eventually become extinct. If we don't take care of our spirit, if we don't connect to our spirit, we don't know if we're ever even on the right road in life, right? And then our heart. Take care of your heart. Don't be with someone who doesn't love you. It's ridiculous. I didn't always know that. I stayed with men way too long. I stayed in one relationship for like 4 years. The guy couldn't give a crap about me. But I had I didn't have standards. I had standards, but not really. You know, what I had was a desire. I had a desire that he and I would work out and we would have this particular kind of life. But remember what I said in number 1. The mind is trying to dominate you and your focus and your energy and your life and your intentions. And your spirit is trying to dominate. And it's up to us to decide which one are we going to give the focus to. So I was giving the focus to, really it was my heart, which was communicating, my feelings, which was communicating to my mind through interpretation. And I was interpreting that I needed to be loved, that I wanted to be loved, that I wanted to be in a relationship, and that I really, I guess, thought I loved the guy. I can't see why today. It was worthless. But I suppose I wasn't worthless. I was, I had a career. I was educated. I was a real estate investor. I was a mother. So I wasn't worthless, but this guy pretty much was worthless. He was using me as a woman. He contributed nothing. He was a baby. He was needy. He was a complainer. He was a cheater. He was a liar. He was worthless. But I was determined to make it work. And life was determined that it was not going to work, right? So I lacked wisdom. And I lacked wisdom because I lacked parents. And I lacked other people feeding life and intelligence into me, right? So I want to wrap up because this is over 30 minutes. But we need to consciously and continuously bring things to people's awareness so that they can evolve. I thank God for the people that spoke life into me and checked me when I needed to be checked and took me to the side and said, sister, what are you doing? Why are you drinking? Why are you acting amok? Why are you dealing with these men? Why you got this guy in your house? Like, clean it up. You're so much better than that. I didn't understand that because no one had ever told me. But then I learned who I am in Christ. And I'm like, oh, hold on. Hold on 1 minute. I could do some things. I don't need him. I need me. Right? And so I learned not to take life casually. And I got on the ball. And in 6 years, in a matter of 6 years, I accomplished so much. My first 37 years, I didn't accomplish much at all, except for existing, surviving. But those 6 years that I awakened, I was reading personal growth and development books. I was watching YouTube life coaches and Jim Rohn and Les Brown and Bob Proctor and Tony Robbins. He came way later, but now I watch Grant Cardone and Gary Vee and Coach Michael Bunt, I think his last name is. He used to be a head coach for like a girls basketball team or something. Softball, some team. He's awesome. He's super awesome. Michael Bunt or burnt. Who else? Ty Lopez. Because I'm not taking life casually anymore. I don't know when my life is over. I don't know. And God forbid, I hope it's not for another 50 years. Because I just got started. I just awakened. There's so much I want to do. I'm writing books. I got 3 books in my mind right now I need to write. That takes time. And that's just books. I got my coaching program. I want to do tremendous things in life. That's not even the beginning. It's like the crumbs of the beginning. Because I have awakened to the possibilities of life. So I can't take life casual. So, when life is over, it's over. And we don't get any more second chances. So, wake up. Get your life together. Get off the couch. Stop being lazy. Stop being negative. Stop being like, oh, life sucks. Life don't suck. You suck. Because this right here sucks. You got to clean this up. And you got to get into this, your spirit. And stop focusing on you. Because when you focus on you, when I focus on me, guess what we do? We get depressed. We get depressed. And we're like, man, everything sucks. There are no answers. What am I going to do? Life is hard. When I have a problem, I have learned to say, shut up. Shut up, Capri. You don't have no problems, right? I'm human. I'm going to complain every once in a while. But I've learned I don't have any problems. You know who has a problem? And they probably don't even feel like they got a problem. People with no arms and legs. I think they got problems. I don't have any problems. I don't care what my worst issue is in life. It ain't a problem. It's something that I need to grow from and evolve into a new being so that I can help other people. Because that's where your focus should be. How can I help society? How can I make this planet a better place for future generations to come? How can I make the experience of other people's lives just a little bit better? Can I smile more? Can I be joyful? Can I know verses in the Bible so that when I come across somebody who's having a hard day, I can tell them about something in the Bible that might be able to cheer them up? Like God so loved you that he gave his only begotten son to die on the cross for your sins? Do you understand what that means? You are renewed. You are not who you think you are. But you have to step into that knowing. And you have to walk in those footsteps. And you have to seek. And you have to own your power. It's awesome. It's awesome. Because then you see life differently. Right? Focus on helping other people. Focus on being a blessing to other people. Focus on what does my inner spirit want me to do. Because that is your calling. Okay? And when you're walking in your calling and you're working in your calling, it's a lifestyle. It's not just something you do. It's who you are. And that's when you're not taking life for granted. That's when you're living on purpose. And you're being serious about God's business. Because he created you as a phenomenal being. Phenomenal being you are. You have billions of brain cells. Billions. And trillions of brain connections. And your brain is plastic. Plastic in the sense that it's moldable. It's you can retrain your brain. It's not actual plastic, it's tissue. But, they call it brain plasticity in neuroscience because it's plastic. Plastic you can heat up and mold and change. And you can do that with your brain by educating yourself, by having a desire You must have a desire to be better, to be wonderful, to be loved, to love other people. If you are the same kind of person today that you were 10 years ago, you have wasted 10 years of your life. You must grow and evolve. It's what God created you to do. Okay? So, be purposeful. Do what you love. Dress how you want. Live where you want. Love who you want. Experience life the way you want. That's why I'm moving to LA. I want to live in LA. So I'm going to LA. I want to live the life that I want to live because I will die one day. I probably have lived more of my life already than I am going to live. And surely I have lived the most energized years. I don't know, maybe I shouldn't say that because there are older people who are very, very energized. But you know what I mean? So I don't want to take time. I just don't want to goof off anymore. Like I want to know, I want to be certain. I want to live purposely, right? Because I got goals I want to achieve and I got visions and I love the water and I want to be on the water, right? Maybe I'll meet my husband in LA, right? And we'll have a fascinating life. Because I'm a fascinating person. So, you know, I'm going to live a fascinating life whether I meet my husband or not. I don't know if the Lord has a husband for me or not. But if he does, we're going to have a great time. LA is the cherry on the cake, honey. I've been to Hawaii, I've been to Guam, I've been to Puerto Rico, I've been to St. Thomas, I've been to St. John, I've been to Germany, I've been to England, London, I've been to Paris, I've been to Okinawa, I've been to Georgia, New York, Florida, Texas, Maryland. I think LA is going to be it. I had to do some traveling to figure it out, but yeah, I'm excited. So, dance more. Put some music on. Lighten up. Let the Spirit of God out, right? I was telling somebody at church today, I thought it was my grand idea, but she said someone has already thought of it, that we should have gospel Zumba, you know, and because I was dancing in church, and I was like, we should have like gospel Zumba, and I was like, oh, nobody has ever thought of this. I know this is my idea. She's like, no, somebody already got it. So achieve what you want, educate yourself, make that video that your fear is telling you you can't make. And I struggle with it all the time. More so before than now, but I still struggle with it. I'm like, oh, the video, the lighting, who wants to hear me? But you know how I got over that? It's not about me. These videos are not about me. These videos are what God wants me to do. He has given me life experience. He's given me wisdom. He's given me intelligence. He's allowed me to become a higher functioning person so that now I can go relate to the people who are like who I used to be, right? That's what we're supposed to do in life. We're supposed to elevate and evolve and become wise and intuitive. And then we're supposed to go back and help people out. And say, hey, these are some things I learned. And so God wants me to do it through video. I got a spiritual understanding about that about 9 months ago. So here I am. I had to get over this. This right here, which is connected, my prefrontal cortex, which is my thinking brain, interprets what my emotions, which is in the middle part of your brain, are feeling. You know, whatever your emotions are, this part interprets it. And then it sends signals to your nervous system. And so that's where fear comes from. And so we have to dig deep into our will, into our spirit, and conquer this right here. Because the brain is not supposed to conquer you. Your spirit is supposed to conquer you. Okay? We are in a battle between the mind and the spirit. And let me make it super, super, super clear to you. Your spirit is going to win if you just listen to it and oblige it, because it's connected to source. How can you go wrong? You cannot. All right. So create that thing, lead that group, build your empire, leave your legacy, because when you die, this thing called life is over. Don't you want to be happy? Don't you want to be loved? Don't you want to love people and contribute to a better society and get excited about everything, really? I appreciate the oxygen that we have because we don't see it and we take it for granted. But when you're sick and you can't breathe, you're like, shit. I appreciate oxygen. Don't be flippant with your life. It's not going to last forever. Opportunity, if you're lucky, comes maybe twice in your lifetime. It's time to wake up. All right? I'm Dr. Cruz from Healing Out Loud. I am the founder of Design Your Destiny coaching program. I will see you next time. Bye-bye.